Hi, I'm Sanya Sundaram. I have completed my master's from Mount Carmel College, Bangalore, with clinical specialization, and I started preparing for M.Phil right after I completed my master's. But I soon realized that it wasn't going anywhere. I knew the syllabus, but I still couldn't figure out how to answer properly in the exams, and 1 year got wasted like that. And finally, I came across UPS education. One of my friends told me about it, and then I've joined UPS education, and it gave me the guidance I needed. It it summarized what I needed to study. It had sessions. Sir was awesome, like with everything. He made everything seem so easy that would never get it to my mind earlier. And then yeah, I'm here finally. I have a seat in M.Phil, so I'm quite happy about that. So I remember when I joined, I wasn't still very sure of how this is gonna go. Like they did give me a brief about, we'll provide you with books, there'll be an online portal, but unless you step into the classes, you don't really get the feel of it. So I remember I got the bunch of books. There were like 11 books, and I was like, oh my god, how am I going to remember all this stuff? How is it gonna happen? And then I remember the first class, the introductory class with Sir, and how Sir like divided everything. Cognition has the most marks in any exam, so that should be your focus. Once you're done with that, move ahead. You don't really need to complete every single book before you go to write an exam, but never stop. Like you keep going on little by little, and then this is what worked for me as well. This is what Sir told us to do. Like when there was like a week left before any exams, I used to stop with the books and notes and everything, and I used to go to the portal and solve as many tests as I could, whatever was open. Plus, UPS has this really nice feature that whenever you have any exam coming, they have a mock paper specifically for that exam. So like if CIIMHANS is coming on, they'll have CIIMHANS mock test. If RML is there, they'll have a mock test for that. And that really gives you an idea of what kind of questions they're going to ask, what kind of questions do you need more time to focus on, and how you're going to manage it. And sometimes you feel so lucky because there are some questions which are exactly how it's in the portal. You're not even wasting a second on that. You have read that, you have answered that. Like you'll find many questions like that. Maybe a few words here and there would be changed, but you don't need to spend a lot of time. You are like, okay, this one I know, I can move on, I can spend more time on the harder question. So like yeah, the notes, like this is something I found hard actually. Like initially I was like, no, a week before exam I can't focus on everything, like I should be just revising. But then once I stopped that, once I listened to Sir, and I was like, no, okay, fine, 1 week I have done enough of study that I can, and now it's time to focus on tests. That really helps. So stick to what Sir is saying. Like he'll spend a lot of time if he feels that there are people who can't do this, or there are people who are not understanding this. He'll ask you like what exactly that you're not understanding. He doesn't judge you. Like that's I guess the biggest thing, because you're always scared of how the teacher's gonna react, that now you have completed masters and you don't know this. He's like, it's fine, I don't expect you to know things, I expect you to learn. And I feel that's where your motivation gets really high, and you're like, okay, fine, he's there for me, I can ask him and we'll do this together. If you look at my portal, all the practice tests are done, all the self-assessment, like there are like 3 self-assessment left, I guess, and then a few mock tests, because I really don't think I could have tackled the original exam without, experiencing those tests. Because it's one thing to study while Sir is teaching or while you're making notes from the book, and then it's a totally different thing, to sit in front of exam. There's 100 questions, there's time limit, your brain gets tired after time. So, if you practice doing that, because our tests are also timed, so, it gives you an experience that this is how you should work along the questions, and this is how you're not going to get tired. Because here you can experiment, you can't really experiment in exam. So it's better to experiment here and find your style, what is more comfortable with you, and then go ahead with that. I was initially very sad that I couldn't join the, like I couldn't go physically in the class because it's in Delhi. But then I don't feel left out, because especially during COVID, they couldn't also come in the class. So we were having simultaneous class online. And it's just that you're in front of a camera, there's nothing different in it. Sir still gives attention to every one of you. Sir has patience to listen to all of your doubts because we keep repeating them. He will go to an extent that he'll he'll go back to the slide, he'll write everything again. It doesn't matter if he takes like if we are taking so much of his time, until unless he has another class. But that was there. Live classes also had this great thing that we used to have doubt sessions. That day was just for doubts. So like there was no pressure of completing any syllabus. So we can ask anything, something that he has taught, something that he hasn't, something that we found in any other question paper. He also used to take quizzes. That was really helpful because when you're answering it in real time and he's telling you how you're getting it wrong, he won't go like, oh, your answer is wrong. He'll tell you that, see, you got confused here, this is where you should focus while answering. So I think live classes have all the benefits that you want or that you get in an offline batch. So it's wonderful. So till masters, everything is purely theoretical. Like you learn obviously in masters with I had a clinical paper, specifically clinical paper. So we read about psychopathology, assessments and therapy and so many things, but everything was theoretical. So it's just like you're studying for exams and then it's done. I didn't feel like it stayed with me the way it should have stayed with me. And also, if you see in terms of career, having a license by RCI, it opens a lot of doors for you. You can finally be the what do you call it, a certified therapist. So like you can actually help people, which is what I initially thought of doing. So then I decided to start my M.Phil preparations. Honestly, so for me, it wasn't a matter of months, it became a matter of years, because I prepare for 1 year on my own and then for almost 6 months with UPS, and then finally I've got my seat. And it was heartbreaking every time you write an entrance and you don't clear it, or you miss it by like few marks, 2 marks, 3 marks. You realize there are hundreds of people scoring the same rank. So it's not good enough to be good, you need to be the best in order to clear it, especially if you're from general. And I was honestly losing my hope, and I was like, okay, this is not going to happen for me after 1 year. And that's when I came across UPS, and I'll say sir was the motivating factor for me, because he'll keep saying things like, he never said that, oh, tomorrow is your exam and I hope that you all clear it. He never said that to us. He was always like, if you're getting at least 75%, you're in the right direction, and then it's just a matter of time before you get in, which was true. Like this year I've cleared so many, like the written exams, and although I couldn't make through the interviews, but I knew I would get in, because now I am heading towards the correct direction. Now I know what to do, now I know where I'm lacking. So once I feel you are in this guidance zone, where someone can tell you that, okay, fine, you're lacking this, I'll tell you how to tackle that itself is motivating internally. Plus obviously family, friends, they were all like, no, you can do it, and that support really pumps you up. I remember when we started stats, I was like, this is going to be so hard, because I'll have to go through everything. But sir started from the very basics. Like I still remember he started with what is range, what is mean, like even though these are the basic things that everyone knows by now, but he still started with everything. He'll tell us about each symbol, that okay, if F is written like this means frequency, if it's written like this means sigma, and whatever. So I feel because he started from the basics, I never felt that there was a gap between what I knew and what he was teaching. He built the bridge and then he took us along. So for me, initially when he was teaching, I was like, okay, he can teach me stats, I can study it all day, it's fine with me. He'll solve it with you, like he'll ask everyone, okay, how did you get this? You're getting this wrong answer. Okay, I think you have done a mistake in calculation here. And he really doesn't mind your mistakes in calculation. He's like, as long as you know the formula, I know you'll do it. When you get into the details of like what's the volt of action potential and what are the ions that are outside the neurons, inside the neurons, how it travels, especially there are in papers like RML, etc., they get very practical, and they'll ask you things like, okay, if someone is in an accident and this part gets damaged, what symptoms will you see in that person? And it used to be very hard for me to remember, because I was like, how in the world am I going to remember everything about the brain? But he goes through, I guess, all the papers that people have had till now, and then he knows that, okay, these are the areas where the questions come from. So he'll make sure that he somehow categorizes them, so that it's easier. One thing, all of them. Like he'll tell you about Broca's area, now you know the symptoms, it's in frontal lobe, so you can answer it. So he made it really categorized and organized in a way it was easier to learn, rather than just bombarding yourself with all the different lobes and everything. Yeah, that is also something I really owe to him. For me, I'm still taking time to let it sink in, because like when you clear M.Phil, you don't really get time to celebrate it, because now things start coming into your mind that now it's going to be a practical course, you need to be on point and everything. Family and friends, they are super excited. They are all set. They are like, okay, fine, we're going to see you doing what you wanted so far. For CIIMHANS, people do have their reservations because it's a new college, but I remember when I went there to write the exam, they had all the syllabus and everything on the notice board, and I was going through it. They were fine with it, and all the tests and assessments that they were written there, like I was like, it's quite comprehensive. This is what I'm supposed to learn. No college in India is going to give you all the tests in 2 years. That's just not possible. There are priorities, like you should know this, and you'll be able to get on, and you can learn the rest from elsewhere. The postings, like they have a fully functioning hospital. At a time, they always have 90, 100 patients. So, you are going to get trained properly, you are going to get trained well. And at the end, that's what matters, like what you learn from the college. Obviously, it's going to be great if you're in M.Phil. It's the big daddy of all the college. But as long as you're getting your training, I feel go for it. But yeah, like if anyone's watching this who's like confused whether they should take it or not, it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to make it like a rose path. Like, it's very hard. But especially if you're joined in UPS, you're in right hand. Stick to what he's saying, even though sometimes you feel it's not gonna work for me, it's too hard, I can't do it, and you will see the results. Yeah.